Hey, good evening, everyone. My name's Janelle Riley. I'm an editor at Variety. Thank you so much for coming out for this Q&A with everyone's obsession, The Handmaid's Tale. At this time, please join me in welcoming today's guests. I want to start with the actress who won an Emmy for her role as Moira. Please welcome Samira Wiley. There she is. Also joining us is an Emmy nominee for his work as Commander Nick Blaine. Please welcome Max Minghella. We have the very talented actor, writer, director, songwriter, who also happens to star in the show as Luke. Please welcome O.T. Fagbenle. She is an Emmy nominee for her performance as Janine. She's been with the series since the start. Please welcome Madeline Brewer. And joining us via Zoom, you can also, of course, see her in The Handmaid's Tale. She's also currently starring in Mass, which if you haven't seen, it's a fantastic performance. She's an Emmy Award winner for her portrayal as Aunt Lydia. Please welcome Ann Dowd. Yes. Hi. Oh, this is where we get to say the thing that everyone has heard so much this year. Anne, I think you're muted.
Oh, no, I'm not, darling.
Okay. You're fine. You're fine.
Oh, don't scare me.
Hi, Anne.
Hi,
We're
Anne.
all here. We love you.
Darling.
Love you.
Where are you? I can't see any of you.
You can't if we look into the camera. You don't see us?
Can you see us?
Oh, I see them now. You
Hi.
darlings. Look at them. Oh my God.
We miss you.
I miss you terribly.
I always make this joke because Anne is the nicest person in the world and she plays these terrifying characters. Do we put her on Zoom because you're all scared of her?
Yes, they did. They said, don't you dare show up.
Well,
I love them to bits, every one of them.
thank you for being here virtually. We love you. This is an
Thank
audience
you.
of your fellow SAG actors. So I actually always like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? What was the job that brought, especially because you were all SAG Award winners for your work on the show. Let's start with Samira.
I had been out of school maybe a few months, and I got a job called The Sitter with Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
And I remember going to set, and I didn't know who was cast as my boyfriend. And the director, David Gordon Green, was like, "Hey, we got Method Man." And I was like, wait, what? What? And so I didn't know that until my first day on set. And then I was Method Man's girlfriend.
Wow. Aren't you kind of glad you didn't know? Do you think you would have gotten in your head if you had?
Yes, very much so. Yes, very much so. It was, I'm thinking who's going to play my boyfriend, but once I knew it was Method Man, I was like, I'm playing your girlfriend. No one knows who I am.
Baby, who is Method Man? I'm sorry.
Don't we love it?
He's a poet.
I don't get it. Madeline, I've not been with Madeline, who always educates me.
Have you ever heard of the Wu-Tang Clan?
Well, honey, don't ask me any more questions. I don't think I can do it. I can't do it.
He's
I'm
a
just gonna
rapper.
listen.
He's a rapper.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes,
I play him all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Max, what about for you?
Also playing Method Man's boyfriend. I think. I think I started out doing a weird number of music videos. I don't know what it was or why that happened, but I sort of initially just got cast in music videos. So I think my first SAG job was a music video job.
Can we say it was a Method Man video?
It was a Method Man video, yeah. It wasn't anything that cool at all.
OT for you?
No Method Man with me, but I got cast in a show with Courtney Cox called Dirt. But the funny thing is that I was just playing like a reoccurring, and there was some confusion around my visa. So halfway through the rehearsal, the first AD came up to me and was like, "Sorry, can you give me your microphone?" They took the microphone off me. They said, "Could you just stand over there?" And then he just called in a random other black guy. And literally, it's a true story. Brought him in. I stood on the edge. It was my first ever job in America. And then they said, "All right, well, let's go for a take." And I just stood there and watched this other dude because they weren't sure about my visa. Anyway, they found out that my visa was all right. Oh. And then next week, they brought my character back. And then the following week was the writer's strike, and the show got cancelled. So anyway, that's my introduction to Hollywood.
That's a roller coaster. Madeline, for you?
I got my SAG card when I was on Orange Is the New Black, because that was my first job. And I remember my favorite memory from being on that show, my very first job, my very first time on TV ever. I didn't know that when you call second team, that like other people come in. And I just stood there, and I was just watching everybody do their job. Well, they're changing the lights, and there's people walking around, and everybody I met already who's also wearing prison scrubs, they left. So what do I do? And Leah Delaria was so kind and just was like, we're allowed to leave now. Come on, come with me. Let's go to the craft service table.
Those are things they don't teach you in acting school, like how to hit your mark, what that means. Yeah.
Second team.
Yeah.
No, I never forget it.
And what about for you?
I don't know if you, I've been madly searching to see if I can come up with it.
You're Googling yourself?
Yes, and then that didn't work. Who cares? And so then I what do you call that? Looked up Judd Hirsch. Madeline, get over here and help me, because I know Judd Hirsch was in it. Very nice man. And on the way to the set, my agent talked me off the cliff and told me how it's done. Anyway, I think I've repressed it. So let's.
So it's something with Judd Hirsch.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
My phone. I could find this in 2.5 seconds.
Yes, honey, you'll figure it out, won't you?
I'll text it to you.
Thank you, precious.
I love that you're like her Zoom translator.
Oh, she is. Yeah. She tells me everything and how to say it and what not to say.
Oh.
Right?
What should she not say? Tell us that.
Can move along.
Yeah, we better.
Well, I think everyone is so thrilled The Handmaid's Tale is back after 2 years. Season 4 was so fantastic. There was so much emotional payoff that we've been waiting for. I'm curious, were you as excited as a cast as we were to see where the characters were going this season? Do you get the scripts and sort of freak out the way we do with each episode?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun reading the scripts because I never know what's going to happen. And they always end with a cliffhanger. So I'm always so sort of, I get really wrapped up in the sort of soap opera of it. And we don't always get the scripts all at once. You know, we normally get a few sort of early, and then there is quite a lot of anticipation. Whenever we get to the last episode, the one, I think you just watched the last episode, right?
Yeah.
The last ones are always held for a really long time. That's always the one that's really hard to get, and there's lots of sort of gossiping on set. Like, has anyone read it yet? Has anyone seen pages? Does anyone know what happens? So yes is the answer.
I remember when I found out that they were going to bring June back to Canada, and I was like, oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Oh, that ain't fucking around. This is about to get real, boy. Are you serious? They're really going to do that? Okay. You know, I was hyped.
How much of a heads up did you have? Did they tell you like where it's going this season, or do you just get the scripts and find out?
I couldn't wait. I had to. Well, see, I've been obsessed with Moira getting a girlfriend for a little while, and whenever I do interviews after end of a season, it was like, well, what do you want for next season? I'm like, love. But
in the show, what do you want? Yeah.
So I actually called Bruce before I got back to Canada for a season. I was like, what can you tell me? Like, I would really, really love to hear like anything that you could tell me about my arc. When really I was like, do I get love? And so that's where I first found out a lot of the things that were going to happen. I found out about June making it to Canada and all of that. But once you get the script, things change, you know, in a writer's room, things change all the time. So it's lovely to see how they got to, or, you know, what they did to get to where they told you they were going to take you, you know.
Darling girl, can I just ask you, did they actually ask you what you wanted to see happen?
Yeah, I'm not talking about our writers. I'm talking about reporters.
Oh, you sweet thing. I was going to say, I'm going to make a phone call. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Well, actually, I'm curious, what would you like to see for Aunt Lydia in your dream?
Honey, I finally, oh God, I hear myself shrieking in the back. I'm so sorry, everyone who's there. Can I just say, listening to OT and Sweet Max with their regular accents, I'm beside myself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, the
Met us
question.
before.
I know, darling,
Such a
but I don't
revelation.
know. Every time, because I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. I don't know what's happening here. I used to think Lydia needed to move on quickly. And then finally, season 4, I thought, no, darling, she's not going to move on quickly. So just sit down and stop. And you'll get the scripts. And speaking of those scripts, I was in quarantine when I read a bunch of them, nearly mad. That is to say, crazy. And every time I finished a script, I thought, oh my God. I thought they were very, very thrilling and exciting. Yeah.
Did any of you have any sort of heads up that Fred would be leaving this season, or that you would be killing him, let alone, did Joseph know, for that matter?
Joe knew.
They must have told
Yeah, Joe knew. Joe knew.
It was known. It was known, and we were sad. I mean, he's so loved. He's such a lovely man, and so thoughtful and so smart, and just so there was a sadness for sure about that.
So there was a heads up. You didn't read it in the script. Okay.
I
Still
did.
processing
did?
it.
I did read it in the script.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how it happened for me. But it's
Oh,
probably
fine.
payback for what happened with Poussey, and that's fine.
What happened? What?
With my last character on television on another
Yeah.
TV show,
Oh,
Orange.
okay, darling.
I watched the finale as it came out because I knew I wasn't in it, and I heard that someone died, and I forget who ruined it for me, but someone ruined it. It wasn't anybody here. I think it was Burton, actually. But bastard. But no, I watched it and got to
Wow.
because the episodes I'm not in, I don't read. Sorry.
You're kidding.
I don't, because I love watching the show, and it's like the kind of great thing for me about our show is that if it's happening in Canada, it does not concern me, and so I skip that part.
Every actor here just related
But
to
then
this
I
segment,
get
yeah.
to, but then I get to watch it,
Yeah.
So I just put in Janine in the search bar and read my pages. Should I not say that?
No, it's good. It's good that you do it that way because then you know somebody else is talking about you.
Yep.
And all those things.
And also,
But
you're a fan
Joe-
of the show itself.
I am a
think
big
that's
fan
cool.
of the show
Yeah.
itself. I get to watch it in real time with everyone else. I have to avoid spoilers on the internet.
That is the hardest thing to do. And you almost
my
be really
coworker.
good at keeping secrets. I actually wanted to get into some of the big scenes this year, starting with June's emergence in Canada, because this means a lot for both Moira and Luke. Samira, Jesus, I'll get it right the third time. My best friend is named Samara. I apologize.
really?
Yeah. Samira and OT. Can you talk about what it was like to share those scenes with Elizabeth Moss again and bring those long-awaited moments to life?
I have been waiting to share the screen with Lizzie again ever since season 1. She really, first season of this show became the show for me. Like I created this character in relationship to her. It wasn't, I don't feel like I created Moira in a vacuum. Moira doesn't exist without June. And that relationship really, really anchored me to this show. And, not much unlike Moira, I think I have felt a little, in Moira's journey in the show, she's away from everyone that she knows and loves and things, the place that she knows and loves. And yes, June/Lizzie is the one that I know and love in this story, Samira. I feel like being in scenes with Lizzie elevates my acting to a place that I didn't know sometimes that I could access. I just think she's such an amazing scene partner. I feel almost like I'm in some kind of tennis match with like the most amazing tennis player, and I'm just like trying to bat it back at her and like, hold my own. But that scene where we get to reconnect in this season, I've been waiting for that ever since season 1, truly. And
that's wonderful.
it was just so awesome to be back with her again, back with my tennis, whatever you call them, spar partners. Okay, sorry, I'm an actor.
I've been waiting for it too since season 1, so I was super excited.
Yeah.
OT, what about for you, especially because, this show really is examining the effects of grief and trauma, and Luke is having to grapple with the fact that his wife is not the same person that he last saw. What are some of the challenges in that?
Yeah, I mean, just to say though, Samira, there's so much you said that I relate to. Everything you said I relate to, both in terms of what a rock she is, in terms of my character in relationship to her, but also what it's like to, she's so fiercely demanding as a character and as a presence on screen. It really brings out great things. It's wonderful to act again, with Lizzie. But one thing I found really interesting, which I've not really experienced before, I hadn't done multiple seasons of a TV show like that before, was what it was like to have 4 years of real memories to draw on in scenes.
Yeah.
And so, the scenes when we go back and we start talking about my daughter and where she is, I remember hanging out with that little girl. We made pancakes together 4 years ago. I actually have a relationship with her. I love that little girl. And I have memories of times of me and Lizzie, the first time we went to the aquarium in 2000 and whenever, and so all of those things were so alive and so present when working with her. Sam's here. Love you, Sam.
Where are you, dear?
Can you see me?
No.
Oh, here we go.
Sam,
Oh.
right.
Oh, there he is.
God, we were
Hi,
looking for
everybody.
handsomeness, and here it is.
Oh, you got it covered, man. I'm just.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, having all of those memories, I think, was really affecting.
These scenes, though, are so complex and nuanced between Luke and June. I mean, as fun as it is to be reunited with Elizabeth Moss as an actor, did you find those scenes challenging?
You know what? Sometimes people are like, oh, those scenes are so emotional and people cry. I'm like, we love it. Actors love it. Give me a scene where I'm crying and snot's coming down. Oh, I'm really acting now. And so, don't feel sorry for us. This is what we came here for,
Speaking of those, memories as your character, Madeline, we got to learn more about Janine this season. We got to see her life before Gilead. I just think it must be so interesting when you've played a character and built a character over years to learn new things about them. Do you find that it changes your approach? Are you ever surprised? Or do you think I would have done something differently?
Yes. I had a lot of opinions that I tried not to hold on to too tightly when I knew that I would have a flashback. Or just over the first 3 seasons, I'd made decisions based on, and I have to go back to what Samira said, creating this character with Lizzie in this world. Whatever you said was so elegant, and that I liked a lot. That is how I feel. But being with Janine for 3 seasons and not being entirely positive of what her life was like before, grabbing onto any little piece I could find, knowing her son's name was Caleb, knowing how he came to be in the world, using all those little pieces of her to create this character, but never really making any decisions because I didn't want to be surprised. And when I did a flashback with one of the first scenes I did of episode 4, which is Janine's flashback episode, is in her apartment. And I just walked around her apartment that's not right. I'm in her closet, touching her clothes. I'm these are way too nice. I don't know about these shoes. I just had a totally different idea of who she was. I mean, I must have spent 2.5 hours in my fitting for my flashback because I'm insane. And I had to touch every piece of clothing, and I'm the worst person. That poor woman, Deborah. But I'm so connected to her. I just feel so close to her. Yeah. And I wanted it to be right, and I wanted it to be her. I eventually got over the closet thing and the fact that her apartment is way nicer than mine. It's television. So, but yeah, it was, we brought it all together, and I found Janine.
I mean, you probably know the character better than anyone at this point, so it actually makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. Do the writers ever, or producers ever talk to you and say, do they ever ask any of you, what do you think this person would have had in their closet, or would have, where would they have gone to school, where would they have lived?
They did in the beginning. I mean, I had a lot of conversations with Bruce that helped me build Janine, and with our costume designer, Ann Crabtree, who really helped bring Janine into focus for me season 1. And then it's kind of, whatever the hell has happened since then that you see. But yeah, we had conversations early on, but I haven't had.
So Sam Yeager just joined us. Thank you so much for being here. You became a series regular this season, and of course, one of the biggest moments was June's escape to Canada. I'm curious what it was like to shoot that epic moment that people have been waiting for 4 seasons now, and no pressure, but so much is hanging on that scene. Did you feel it on the day you shot it?
Well. Yeah, I suppose we did. It's an important moment for the whole series, and I think Lizzie is so wonderful to watch, and it's so wonderful to be in moments with these actors like OT and Samira, and having been a fan of the show before joining, watching how everyone was kind of building up to that moment. It was a freezing cold day, and I felt like it was a fitting arrival, because in our story the journey is far from over, and but it was an honor to be just a part of that moment.
What is it like to be a fan of a show and then get to join it? Like, I don't know if you originally auditioned or how the role came to you, but are you extra excited when you know it's The Handmaid's Tale?
Well, I get offered all the time, just daily. So I don't even remember how this offer came to me. No, originally it was just a guest starring role, and I was like, a guest starring role? Yeah, okay, I'll audition for it, sure. And I don't think I'd seen the show before I had gone on the audition for it, and then I fell in love with it. But for 2 months they were like, "Hey, it's down to you and some other guy." I was like,
classic.
For 2 months, I was like, "This is what the hell? This is." Look, I did 4 auditions for Dude, Where's My Car? And I didn't get that. So if after this, I don't get this, I'm just out. I'm just going to work at my grandfather's hardware store. No, it's an honor, because I just get to watch these people I admire. And I get to go in and work and play with them. And even now, just to go see them in other projects, I just go, it's an honor. It's a thrill to be in this career. I was thinking about it recently, because we are in a position of empathy. That's our job as actors, is to understand people we don't necessarily agree with, and try to understand them and empathize and find that part of them that we relate to. And there's a lot of characters in this show that are hard to empathize with, but you leave it to great actors like the ones on stage to find the heart in all of them.
I mean, to that end, and Aunt Lydia, we have seen her go through so much over the last 4 seasons, and this is the first time where I feel like we're beginning to see cracks. We're beginning to see her doubt her role in this world. What is it like to play someone who has been so adamant this whole time, and now she's actually starting to have those doubts?
Yeah, very good question. I would say, like in life, what disintegrates the wall is love. I think she has deep love for Janine, deep regret that she made an emotional decision to remove her eye just because she said fuck to me twice. I think, that from that moment on, especially after we see what happens to Janine, turning into almost a beautiful child. Forgive me, sweet girl, you'll have a different way of discussing it. But in Lydia's eye, what happened to this girl, I'm responsible for it. So that's one thing. But then, gosh, does she love her?
Mm.
And the same with Elizabeth, with June. She is equally someone Lydia admires profoundly, because there's nothing that stops that woman. I think she wants to take her by the throat and say, will you ever hear me? And she loves her. Mm-hmm. So the world is shifting badly for Lydia in that regard. And I think she's lost her footing. She's very strong. Hey, you try to talk to Margaret Atwood about, Atwood has no sentiment attached. It's about survival. So if Lydia wants to survive, she better get her act together and stop making mistakes. And the vulnerability comes from, I love these girls and these commanders. Guess what? That's not what we signed up for, you pigs. And don't give stuffed giraffes the size of zoo animals to these ridiculous children. That's not what this is supposed to be about. So I think, what are you going to do? I think beginning to see what's in front of her.
I think Max took that one personally.
What's that, honey?
Knife to the heart. You know me, always defending the commanders.
Where are you? I take it back because, sweet Nick, what can I say?
Yeah.
Trying his best. Comes through in the end, very good guy. I'm not worried about you, hon.
Thanks,
You're one of the good ones.
I'm worried about me.
I actually want to talk about Nick because he's such a fascinating character, because he is part of Gilead while understanding that it is oppressive and cruel. What are sort of the challenges of playing a character who straddles both worlds like that? And how long do you think he can keep doing that?
I love it. I mean, I love ambiguity generally in storytelling and characters, and we're Europeans, so I'm sort of generally allergic to didactic anything. I never really want to be told how to feel about something. So I love playing this character because he's endlessly complex and feels real to me. It's also a very interesting challenge to play somebody obviously who has different, or certainly at a certain point had very different values to you. But I've had an easy time empathizing with Nick, actually. Like, easier than some other people I've played, which is funny given what he's done and capable of. But I have always sort of liked him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where do you hope to see Nick and June go in the future? And don't mind that OT is looking right at you.
Careful.
Well, I'm a bit of a Team Luca IRL.
Team Nick right here.
Really?
Well, I mean, my God, I'm right here, sis.
I mean, look, I think that Luke, I'm very empathetic towards Luke. And so my heart, and there was some, I don't know, there's some work that OT did this season specifically that was so moving. So it's hard for me not to sort of hope that there'll be some kind of way forward. It's obviously complicated. And I have to say selfishly, I do love getting to work with Lizzie like we all do. It's really fun, and it's quite a relaxing environment. It's not. She's a very unpretentious actor. As brilliant as she is, it's not a heavy set when she's there. So I hope I get to do more scenes with her.
I want to come back to the set atmosphere, but first I want to find out why Moira is Team Nick. Or is it Samira
Well,
who's
I was
Team
going
Nick?
to say, not Moira, okay?
Okay,
Moira
this is Samira.
is decidedly Team Luke. But as a fan of the show, I love you, OT. As a fan of the show, I see the chemistry between them. I see it's like hot, it's sexy. It's like, it's like all the things you want to see. And I'm like, ooh, let's see some more of it. So that's why I'm Team Nick.
I am so tempted to poll the audience right now and ask, but I
No, don't. There's a clear Nick is definitely well below. I mean, yeah,
No, I'm Team Luke.
Okay, you can stay. That was what I was pushing for. But funnily enough, though, I swear to goodness, I'm so pure as Luke. I'm so connected to him, but it is a bit undeniable when you guys are on screen together. I'm like, oh shit, it's about to go down, boy. Like, it's real.
But actually, I would like to say that in thinking of the world of the show and in thinking of what trauma does to people, Moira and June have both been in Gilead and had trauma happen to them. But Moira has been healing for 4 years. And June is a completely different person. And if she is a completely different person that Moira can't even understand, then I don't understand how there is a path forward, just as a fan of the show, between her and Luke, who's never, ever, ever had to contend with what the reality of Gilead is. I just feel like couples that I know in life, that's a really hard thing when you can't even explain to someone something that has made you now who you are as a person. And that is something that June and Nick share. So that's also Team Nick.
And June, can I just say, June is a damaged woman now.
Yes.
And as you said, Samira, trauma. She's, who she was is long gone. Yes. And she is a leader, I should say, a warrior. And her daughter is in Gilead.
Yeah.
Poor Luke. I was OT. I was just thinking, God, those were tough scenes. Just as I say, not a character, but as a person watching. How do you navigate, that relationship? Because boy, what do you do? I mean, it was. Yeah, sorry, that's just a thought in my head.
But you know what? That's just like a shout out also to the writing. I think the writing is so good generally, but like some of those scenes I was writing, Yalin I think wrote that, like those scenes with June and Luke, and I was just like, I read them and I'm crying the first time I'm reading the scenes. We tried to rehearse it. June and Lizzie and I went to the director's house and he was like, all right, let's just read this thing. Just no acting, let's just read the thing. And halfway through we're both like, our eyes are going. And the director just called it. It was just like, we'll record it on the day. Like, it's great writing. It's great writing.
I mean, we have talked about, how difficult and challenging some of this material can be, but it feels like you do allow for levity on the set. It seems like there's actually a lot of joy on this set. Is that sort of a conscious decision you make, or is it just your natural personalities, you have to keep it light at times?
They're a bunch of jokers.
Yeah. It's very self-serious on our set, really. I can't think of anybody on the set who's like particularly serious. We're a pretty light bunch. And and maybe it is to do with the material being so heavy.
We're a pretty light bunch.
Case in point.
When the handmaids are hanging out with Lydia, oh my God.
Oh, we have
sweet
fun.
Girl. Remember that time I said, now what is Beyonce up to?
Yes.
And I said, what is this strip dance she's doing in her husband's show? What is going on?
There was Nina, and Bahia just
and I thought, come on now. Are you objectifying women, honey? What's she
These are
doing?
the conversations we have, though. This is the kind of stuff where we teach and things.
Okay, so then
what's
they
happening.
went away. Don't laugh that hard, Sam. Then they went. I'm joking, honey. Laugh away. Then in they come. There was steam coming out of the back of their shoes, and you stood in front of me. And honey, who was it? Nina, the two of you, and you both said she has the right to dress any way she likes. I thought, okay, yeah, that's true. But as the mother of a daughter, I'm just saying, use your brains.
We bring Anne into
yeah, you do.
Into like fourth wave feminism and stuff, I
love that.
Yeah, she does. She educates me. I'm very grateful for it.
And also, me and Nina and Bahia, when we get together, I mean, unfortunately, if you've seen this season, you know that they are no longer with us. But
brutal.
We had a great time. I mean, we have so much fun. And Nina's the one who came. I don't know if you guys saw the what is that called? Where you dance out of nowhere.
Oh, flash mob.
Flash mob, like the flash mobby thing we did second season.
Oh yeah.
With, like the commanders were all doing it when you guys were at the thing. Right. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You know what we're talking
Okay, good. That was like Nina and Lizzie. Like, strange. Why? But all of a sudden, Nina just made up a dance and then was like, Lizzie, you have to do this dance. And
I don't know
they were
what
like
y'all talking
handmaids.
about.
I don't know that you were there, sweet Samira.
You weren't there for the flash mob?
You were no, because they did one at that Commander's Ball thing, and so you weren't. You were in Canada, and then we did one with the Handmaids, like right on the tail end of Anne screaming at us, and like I think you had like burnt their wrists second season or something.
Well, don't say it, hon.
Right? And then we broke into a flash mob, and it was like great fun.
I love that. Well,
That was a blast. The talent of those. Oh my God.
I honestly don't know how this show keeps getting better. And even the ratings got better in season 4, which is incredible. I thought everybody was already watching the show. I cannot wait to see what's in store for season 5. Does anyone have any ideas, or have they told you anything?
Why y'all look at me? I'm still hoping for love because we saw what happened. All right, I tried. I was on the good path. June done came around and messed everything up. So I'm hoping for love.
Well, darling, Lydia's going to get you back on the right track.
Oh, God.
Lydia's not
there's
in
a
my life
spin-off.
anymore.
There's a
Not
spin-off
for now.
reality show for Moira when this all peters out.
Looking for love. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, again, it's such a fantastic show. I want to thank you all so much for being here in person and virtually. And thank you all for being such a great audience.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
for coming.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Anne.
I
Bye,
love
Sam.
you all. Thank
Love
you.
you.
Bye-bye, sweethearts.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, darling. Oh, my goodness.